that is our mission, to change ourselves, and in the process, we will bring change to others. Things like being able to live in the present moment as opposed to the past or future. It's about awareness of the divine presence in all things, hence the title. I am glad that I had the crisis of faith that I had, because through it, I'm a different person, and that difference makes all the difference. Hello, my name is Steve Barnhart, and welcome to the podcast that I'm calling The Light in All. In the next few minutes here, I'm going to attempt to answer the question of who is this podcast for as listeners, and what is it that you will get from this podcast? What can you expect? If you've seen the podcast description, you'll know that the first sentence asks a question. Do you feel like you're struggling in life and sense that maybe something is missing? And the two words that I want to address in that sentence here right from the start is struggle and missing. First, the struggle. When I say struggle, I'm not talking about being able to function, although obviously we can struggle to function. I'm not talking about not being able to take care of our daily tasks, whether that's our job or care for family or whatever other circumstances we may find ourselves in. The struggle I'm talking about is something that's on the inside. It's a feeling that this seems harder than it should be. Maybe it's always been that way. Maybe it's been brought on all of a sudden by a particular circumstance. That's the case for me when several years back I had a big heart health issue that totally changed my life. I found myself struggling, like this is harder than it really should be. And because of that, I'm thinking something is missing. And what is it that's missing? If you can relate to that in some form or fashion, then this podcast may be for you. And it's not like I'm going to sit here and preach to you. I'm on this journey myself. I think I have found some clues on my journey along the way that are very helpful, but I've got a long way to go. So don't in any way think this is going to be about preaching some truth. This is going to be about sharing life, learning together, and hopefully moving away from that struggle and that, dare I use the word, suffering that we find within ourselves. In a separate short video, I'm going to tell you about my journey and what brought me to this point. So I'll just kind of keep it at that for right now. But I do want to share also what you can expect from this podcast. First of all, the way it will work is it's not going to be me sitting here teaching like this. These are simply introductory podcasts. It's going to be me talking to guests, and some of those guests may be, quote, experts in certain fields, whether that be about spirituality or finding peace or finding happiness, finding joy, having strong, healthy relationships, mental health, looking at death that we all face together, all kinds of topics like that. This is a podcast that's just about life in general. It's not about religion. Like I said, it's not about trying to sell you something. It's about walking this path together. Because I believe for sure that we are hardwired to make our journey with others as opposed to on our own. So those are some of the topics we'll be talking about. Some of the guests will be, like I said, these experts that address these particular issues. There'll be other episodes where I just interview a guest that is on the journey right along with all of us, where they're willing to share their struggles, what they have found is helpful, and maybe ease our load a little bit by walking the path with them. So you're going to have both kinds of guests as I see it moving forward. Now, another thing I think it's important for me to say as I wrap up is this may sound like, as some people would say, navel gazing. And yes, this is about us. But also, what I'm learning and now know is that you cannot expect to bring about change in others without first changing yourself. That is our mission, to change ourselves, and in the process, we will bring change to others. One of my favorite heroes of the faith is Saint Francis of Assisi. And I'll mention just one story that has had a huge impact on me. After his conversion, he was walking away from where this conversion had taken place. And he was walking up a hillside on a path, and he heard a familiar bell ringing. And what that bell ringing was for during that time, that was the signal that a leper, someone with leprosy, was headed his direction. And those folks were forced to wear bells so that others could avoid getting too close. Whenever he would hear that bell before his conversion, he would do as all would, and that is to make sure to avoid close contact. But after his conversion, something that had happened inside of him only, all of a sudden his reaction to that bell was 180 degrees different than what it had been before. He felt a compassion to move toward that suffering person as opposed to avoid them. So that's what I mean by the change that occurs within us can have huge implications for the world around us. One more thing about this. This, I already said, is not about religion. This is about life. This isn't just for Christians, although I think a lot of Christians will identify with these topics that we will be discussing. Certainly, spirituality is a part of this, but it's bigger than that. It's not meant to be a debate about religion and beliefs. I promise you is that as guests come on, whether they be the quote expert who's enlightening us on a particular topic, or whether it's a guest that is simply sharing their walk with us, their experience with us, that the conversations will be candid in that they will be truthful, they will be as direct as possible, but they will be kind. This is not about debate. My goal here is to have candid but kind conversations with our guests. I really look forward to walking this path with you. I'm plan to have a social media presence so that we can interact, where you can ask questions that then I can ask of guests, etc. I hope it's a good, fulfilling, and joyful journey together.